Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It's almost 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I've got some things that I want to cover today that I think you definitely need to be pondering. And I also made a bit of a buy today in crypto, which totally goes against my better judgment, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, just for giggles. And maybe it does well, maybe it doesn't. I'm not counting on it doing much of anything, and it's not a paid segment either, even though it might look like one. They haven't given me anything. They may not even know I exist, but I like their project, and I've been looking for something like this for years, and hopefully it's legitimate, but I'm doubting it, if I'm honest. But I got a little bit of the tokens anyway, just in case, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So first thing we're going to dive into is this: U.S. Congress creeps toward deadline to pass a $1.5 trillion funding bill. Is anybody done with this yet? Done with these trading, like funding bills, all these bills? How many trillions of dollars does this administration need? I mean, why is it that they're printing so much money, and yet I feel like the country is just going downhill fast? And not even to get political about this, but they're obviously trying to push this through before the House changes hands, so to speak. And I'm just thinking to myself, you guys realize that all of the tax stuff, I remember arguing with a friend of mine about how they were going to, the taxes are about to go up on everyone and this and that. And he's swearing, you're not going to get more taxes unless you make over $400,000 a year. You're fine. And if you make more than that, well, the taxes shouldn't bother you much anyway, blah, 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 blah. Now he's realizing, yeah, no, that wasn't true. And so many things have changed about that narrative altogether ever since. And on top of that, inflation is a tax on the country. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Inflation makes everything more expensive, and they're basically passing the buck of all of this ridiculous spending down to you. Even if you work at a coffee shop making $9 an hour or whatever, and you don't generally care about politics outside of what gets you emotionally triggered, I've got news for you. When you're blindly professing your faith and whatever towards some of these politicians because they might do this in your favor or do that in your favor, the grand scheme of things, in my humble opinion, a lot of these things are used to trigger you for support, but ultimately they're basically shaking your hand with this hand while they're jabbing you in the back with the other. And this is the world so many have been creating and ushering in and wanting. And I'm just trying to figure out, why the hell do we need another $1.5 trillion funding bill? What is this going to benefit? Because we've seen where the money goes. And all of these other spending bills, this bill is for this and to benefit this. 5 or 10% of those funds go to that actual cause, while the rest is just a convoluted mess going to friends and I don't know, funding gerbils' mating habits. And I mean, who knows, like dumb stuff. God, I hate this stuff just burns my ass, like in a major way. It burns my ass, and it sickens me to see. And yet there are so many people just blind to this stuff, and they just don't seem to care. But listen, this leads into my next story that I think is going to play a big role, because if I'm to hazard a guess, this funding bill is going to go through in the middle of the night sometime when nobody's around to do anything about it. And then they're going to announce, oh, we got the funding and everything is good, and like inflation's going to get worse and everything else is going to get worse. But the administration is getting their money to do whatever it is they need to do before the watchdogs are in office and they can stop all this stuff. To me, this is all, I mean, honestly, since 2020, I feel like this has almost been like a wild party thrown by a bunch of high schoolers while their parents are on vacation. I mean, that's honestly what it looks like. The damage is done. The parents are coming home tomorrow. There's still 2 bottles of liquor left in the cabinet. We're going to chug it down and have a blast before our rents get home. And that's how all of this looks to me. And it's disgusting. And it's far more destructive, I think, than anything. Who knows what's even in this bill? It's like 4,500 pages. Why are all these bills so convoluted and long and huge, to the point where, and I've seen people in Congress and other places, they're showing these bills. They're like this big, and they're like, we have 3 days to read all of this and then vote on it. right? It's like, how is this a thing? Like, how does that even make any sense whatsoever? And it's just, it's disgusting. But ultimately, this is probably going to go through. We're going to print another $1.5 trillion. Has there ever been an administration in history to print more money ever? I'm asking legitimately. I don't know. I'm not an economist, and I don't see how any of this money. I mean, before we had what was the excuse for printing trillions of dollars? Very little of which went to the actual cause. Oh, that's right, the pandemic. We needed to print trillions of dollars for the pandemic, even though businesses were being forced closed and so many people were basically being thrown out of their livelihoods. And where did the money go? What, you got a few grand? I mean, that only benefited the people who were like 18, 19, didn't really have a good job anyway, didn't really have a life. They probably sit around in an underpass smoking weed with their buddies, and they get a check for $3,000. And sure, I'll show up and vote for that $3,000. That gets me a whole bunch of stuff, right? But the people that actually have livelihoods, businesses, things, this didn't do anything for any of them. And so now we're continuing with this. And ultimately, this is going to help create this. U.S. stocks likely retrace and push Bitcoin down before Christmas. I wonder why. And, when we look at the traditional stock market, we can see that there are definitely correlations between the S&P 500, even the NASDAQ and things. And it almost seems to depend on what part of the cycle Bitcoin and crypto is in. And we can see these correlations on the charts, especially on a weekly chart, and even sometimes a daily. And, this is people wonder sometimes, like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And often I tell you, why I often come on YouTube and I give you my opinion as to what I think is happening, but I don't really give you that many details as to why. I'm trying to do that now. The problem is that my opinions can be divisive, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be divisive. I just want people to open their eyes to what's actually going on. And it's a difficult challenge for many, because so many are so dialed in to their personal narrative and opinion and the confirmation bubbles that all of us exist in today, between all of the algorithms and everything else that we do. I'm always trying to disprove things. I am always trying to disprove claims made by right-wingers all the time. I even send stuff to my he says he's not liberal, but he's like one of the biggest Trump haters I know. But he's a friend of mine, and I like him a lot. And he's a smart guy, and he's a very high-end tech guy. But he is so blind. and he uses a lot of terms like, and everyone agrees with me. Like, he'll say anything and be like, and everyone agrees with me, or the majority agree with me. All scientists agree with me, right? And it's this like confirmation bias masked in, I don't know what you would call that, but he really believes he's right more often than not. But it never makes any sense. It never adds up. It's never backed up by anything factual. It's always when he sends me information to support his claims, it's always some very, very, very left-wing leaning media source full of, like this whole trial with Carrie Lake. I sent him a message. Hold on, I'll read it. I told him what the headlines are going to be about this trial. And I said, hey, the case was not dismissed. And, and I said, I'll assume you'll wait, because I was watching the live trial today. And I said, I'll assume you'll wait for the liberal media spin on all of it instead of watching it. I'll let you know the truth when it's done so you can argue it with me, LOL. And I said, here's the headline you're probably going to see. Dangerous Trump supporters gather in court to discuss the fair and secure elections while trying to destroy our democracy. And that was basically the headline that I told him to look out for because if he waits to see from his media sources what's happening, and that's the thing. It's like this constant spin that's ultimately programming people's minds to think about things a certain way, as if And a lot of people are like, they don't think we're smart enough. No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think they know people are smart enough, which is why they're constantly bombarding everyone with these narratives and these ways of constructing and thinking about these narratives over and over and over again. I mean, science, you say trust the science. Science has proven that if you tell a lie enough times, it becomes truth in the minds of many. And it's very difficult. The other saying is it's much easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled, right? And it's like I see a lot of this stuff happening, and I give my opinions on what I think is happening in the market based off of a lot of these things, but I don't get deep into it because this very video, I'm sure, going to have a lot of divisive comments. And it's not a right or left thing, because the reality of it all is it goes back and forth. Right now it's the left ushering in a lot of these different agendas and things. And tomorrow it could be the right, but it's all towards the same place. Right? So it's not about, get rid of your liberal thought process or get rid of your right-wing thought process. It's about getting rid of all of that in favor of exploring and understanding everything that's going on, connecting your own dots, and formulating opinion that's somewhere probably down the center. And even that is very much likely flawed, because you're taking information from two sides of a coin when there's many, many sides to that coin. And so that's why I don't generally go into details about why I think this is happening or that is happening, because my opinions and the reasoning behind them, here's the thing. If you look at a lot of what I've predicted on a macro level, okay, I can say, this token or this coin might go to this much and be wrong, okay? It's almost impossible to do accurately, okay? But on a macro scale, this is the market peak, this is the market bottom, this is probably what's going on here, this is why I think this is happening to the market now, and so forth and so on. Man, I'm almost dead ass accurate all the time with that stuff. Prove me wrong, prove me otherwise, okay? But I get a lot of that information and that sentiment and that narrative from the world, from what's happening in the world right now. It's not just about what's happening in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano. It's not about that. What happens in the price of these tokens, these coins, these blockchains is a reflection of what's going on in the grand scale on a global basis. And I have news for you. The global basis is changing dramatically under your very nose. This is not business as usual, folks. This is not the typical market cycles as we know them playing out. It's all very much structured, I believe, for very, very specific reasons. And unless you are able to peel back that onion and get to the core of it, you're not going to understand. And I've been reading and researching a lot of this stuff for over 25 years. I'm an old gray man. Look how gray this is in all its fabulousness. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, the stock market is probably going to go down, and it's going to drag crypto along with it. I think it's funny that we're still tracking Solana on everything, personally. So that's what I think. I mean, that's my opinion. So here's the thing. I came across this article. I'm sure it was a paid article on Crypto News. This new crypto platform is a must-have for any trader. Here's the thing. I'm always looking for that grand poobah trading platform, that thing that is going to help me achieve what I want to do. I would love nothing more than a trading system that gives me all of the data, all of the information all at once, and lets me create my own strategies that I can then automate. Okay? Apparently that's what this is claiming it's going to be able to do. And apparently they've amassed a community of over 70,000 traders to structure and build this platform. Now, they're comparing this to a Bloomberg terminal. I've seen this before. It was a bullshit project that I was such a believer in. And I was so, I was so into this. And I thought this is going to be the big terminal for crypto traders the world over. And it never live traded. It never worked. It turned out that the CEO was a big scam artist, a big con man. And I was almost kind of devastated by that, to be honest. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, here we go again. Maybe, I don't know. But I did buy a little bit of their token just in case, not a lot, like 0.2 Ethereum worth. And I'll show you right there. I bought 4,540 D2T tokens. That's it. That's all I'm getting. So I'm going to go to their website and they're at 78.37% sold. This is not a paid segment. It really is not. They have not given me squat. And that's okay. But I am exploring this and I'm hoping that it becomes something. There's no demo yet, just screenshots. There's some promo videos and things like that. But I'm going to go over some of the features to let you know why I think, if this becomes a legitimate thing, I wanted to have some tokens on the cheap in case I need them down the road. I'm not buying these as a speculative thing that I think they're going to make me rich. I'm just kind of getting them while they're cheap in case they do happen to go up in price later. And it turns out I want to use this terminal. It's the only real reason I bought them. I'm not buying them because I think they're going to make me a super wealthy man. I only bought like 4,500. So Dash 2 Trade is building the most advanced crypto signals and analytics dashboard designed by traders for traders. D2T token holders will get access to a full range of crypto signals and analytics features to maximize your trading opportunities. This includes social sentiment, on-chain metrics, and crypto signals powered by technical indicators and quant developers. This is interesting because I'm assuming there's going to be some significant interoperability between multiple blockchains for on-chain data and analytics, which is wonderful. Sounds good to me. I'm telling you, I'm so skeptical about this, but like I said, I'm just taking a little bit of a risk. I'm sharing it with you in case you're interested in something like this. Who knows? I am not counting on anything. Chances are the tokens that I just picked up are going to be completely forgotten about for years to come if this ever even comes to fruition. All right. I'm just being straight up, but maybe not. I'm very hopeful. Pre-sale tokens, social analytics, and watch list alerts. Get access to social analytics and insights to catch trending coins, developer activity, and social sentiment. We'll also be launching a crypto pre-sale section within the Dash 2 Trade platform with a Dash 2 Trade score rating to help you avoid losing money in scams and invest in high-quality pre-sale coins. Trading bots and strategy builder. This is my biggest thing because when you're working with a trade bot like Crow Trader, okay, like I have my automated trading bot and I haven't been running it. I haven't been running it for a while, obviously in the market the way it is. I just haven't bothered because you can't short or anything. So it's more of a spot trading bot. But you can kind of sort of craft your own strategies, but not really. You can basically say, I want to trade on this Bollinger Band and here are my variables to when I want to get in and out of a trade. And it works. It works really well for that. It's not fantastic in a bear market because if you're trying to trade a Bollinger Band and you buy in at the bottom of the band here waiting for it to go up, but then the price drops, now your Bollinger Band is at 20 cents lower than you originally bought it anyway, and you're still trading a Bollinger Band. And you can continue averaging down throughout that drop and make it easier and maybe get out of that trade, but it's hard, it's difficult to make a consistent, quick in and out series of trades. And that's why I haven't been using it. I mean, I love my bot, but I'm not, I always say, if I'm not using it, I'm not promoting it. But this looks interesting. Avoid missing out on profitable trading opportunities. Build and execute your own profitable trading strategies. Autopilot. D2T users will be able to copy the most profitable traders on the platform or build their own DCA, grid, and other strategies using 10 technical indicators. So this looks like it could be cool, and then there's some comparison charts to other things and news outlets, and but there's no demo, there's no nothing, which I'm like, and they're based somewhere in an island somewhere. I don't even think it's the Cayman Islands. I don't know where they're at, but they, there is a white paper here. I'm probably going to dive into that and take a look. 100% secured by solid proof, contract code fully audited by solid proof and shown to be 100% secure, but without an actual demo. Who knows what code they've actually looked at and secured or what. But the team is verified by CoinSniper. Full team KYC verified by CoinSniper. View the certificate here, but there's no link. Okay. And why, yeah. So this is the team that are apparently building this thing, and development lead, CPO, senior back end Web3 engineer, so official partner, Learn to Trade. Listen, I hope it goes well. I hope they launch this thing. I am going to be following them on Twitter, and I'll keep you posted if you have any interest at all. But yeah, I picked up a few tokens just to see what happens. That's all. I'm not overly concerned with it. I'd love to see this work out. I'd love to see this be something worthwhile, but I'm definitely not counting on it. And so that's that. And listen, like I said, I am definitely not one to... I don't like really putting my personal political views out there for everybody, because the last thing I ever want to do is create division. I really believe we need more unity, because it's the division that's been created and consistently pushed forward in this country and abroad that enables power plays by either side that don't benefit any one of us. We are used often as tools, as pawns in a much greater game that's probably more complex than chess itself. And it bothers me. And like I said, I'm not a right or lefty. I'm really not, because it really depends on the times and who's in office. I really wish we could just get rid of all these career politicians once and for all in favor of something better. I would almost, and I've joked about it on other channels, I would almost rather have like a HAL 9000 running elections or running governments based on real scientific data, not fake data, not politically biased data. Like you can even go to like Chat GPT, and it's very liberal leaning, and I feel like real truth doesn't lean in any direction politically. That is not truth. That is perception of a reality that is created by those that want you a part of their team. That does not make it real, and it doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it true. It's a narrative that you either buy into or you don't. And believe it or not, the facts to just about anything are readily available to those who want to actually look. The problem is, so many of us are running the rat race, constantly trying to make ends meet in an economy where prices continue to go up and everything else continues to go down, such as quantities of the products that we're actually buying. In a world where everything gets more difficult and frustrations rise, it's much easier to create a division of those people to go at one another, as opposed to going after the people that are creating these terrible situations for us all to try and struggle through to begin with. And that's why I don't believe in the division of politics, really. I know that it exists, and it's obviously a thing, and it's gotten significantly worse over the last 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 years. But all that means is that so many of us are playing into the hands of those controlling us, and it's got to stop. We've got to start coming together. It's one of the reasons why I'm always arguing with my friend, who I truly think is a little nuts. I still love him, but he's a little nuts. And I do love understanding the psychology behind somebody that sits in that seat, that looks at the world in a completely different view than me, and how that affects things on a grand scale. I love trying to understand their thought process. It's very easy to poke holes in it, and it's very easy to understand why they feel the way they do and how they could be so convicted, so committed to this particular narrative. But the one thing that I've discovered is a lot of it boils down to time. The less time we have to research and deep dive into the facts, the easier it is to control our thoughts. And that's exactly what the media and politicians of all kinds prey on. And as long as you keep that in the back of your head anytime you're reading some spun media article, and remember, all of the media that you watch, whether it's your newspapers or your TV or your whatever, it's all owned by like the same 4 or 5 people. So like when my friend says, I say this and all of media agrees with me. No, you're saying this and like 3 or 4 guys that own all the media might agree with you. They're just pushing out the narrative that has you believing that way. To each their own. I probably not going to do another video like this where I speak so freely about my own political views, but just know that right or left, it's all a big sham to me. And all the way back to the beginning of my own Facebook account where it said, what are your political views? I said, it's all one big play put on for the public to give the illusion of choice. And I still believe that today more so than ever. Till next time, crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.